Honestly, I don't know how to sum up this episode. Really, it's just like, I guess the best way to say it is like a refresher course on character traits and a heck of a lot of Easter eggs. Yeah, this was an interesting one. How is everyone doing today, guys? My name's T Codes, and if you're wondering about why I sound a little bit off, is because I kind of came down with something a few days ago, and mainly been all right. I mean, temperature's been all right. It's just the fact that stuffy nose and a bit of a sore throat. So I wouldn't say anything too threatening, I guess. I mean, not COVID, not anything too severe. So yeah, it's just sore throat, runny nose. So it sucks a bit, but honestly, I've had worse. So so this is Amphibia. This is episode 43A, Thai Feud. So I think if there's one thing about this show that I have been very skeptical about, it's Sprig's stubbornness, I guess is the best way to say, because we've had multiple episodes where Sprig refuses to give up on something, regardless of the fact of Anne, Polly, Hop Pop, basically everyone's telling him to stop. He refuses to stop. So I don't know if it's just him being stubborn, him being scared of failing, or him just being a bit stupid. I don't know, but so for this episode, he wants to win the rank of family in the Boonchoy house. So that being how he thinks, I mean, way this episode starts is they have breakfast. Hop Pop and Polly are super nice to Mrs. Boonchoy, but then Sprig comes in and he acts a little tad rude, but he's a little bit hyper as well. So it's like, okay, but obviously Mrs. Boonchoy has a bit of a problem with that, and so Anne pulls Sprig aside and talks to him about how he needs to be acting like a guest. I mean, Hop Pop and Polly also point that out too, but Sprig is like, I guess we're family. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's like Hop Pop basically points it out. Just because Anne is technically a planter doesn't mean we're technically Boonchoys. So it's like, Sprig's like, I love Sprig. He's like, what are you talking about? The math checks out. And it's like, no, it's not math in this situation. So, so the family, the planters basically are like, yeah, we're guests here, so we have to act like guests. We can't treat this like this is Amphibia, where we could do whatever we did at the house. It's like you gotta be nice. You gotta be respectable to your guest, to Mr. and Mrs. Boonchoy, because you're in their home, and so you have to understand that. And so for Sprig, he seemingly understands that at first because he wants to make up for being a little bit of an inappropriate guest, and he does that by joining Anne and Mrs. Boonchoy at the family restaurant, which is Taigo, as they call it. I like that. I really do like that. Really nice restaurant, really cool layout. I really like that. I mean, it's a standard looking restaurant, but it does have its taste to it. I mean, I guess that's the best way to describe it, because I don't know. I mean, I've never personally been to a Thai food restaurant, so I just took this at face value and was looking around. And plus, not to mention, I imagine Matt Raleigh wouldn't want to misrepresent this at any cost, and they even make a joke about it later on with this other character who's named Ned, who is their number one customer. And there's two interesting things about him. One is he's wearing a Romance Academy shirt, which is a Gravity Falls reference. Love that. But the second one is he's voiced by Wayne Knight. And so Wayne Knight, he played Al, Al's Toy Barn in Toy Story 2, and he also voiced Tantar from Tarzan. So I like that. I mean, I knew him more from, well, besides those two movies, I also knew him in Space Jam. He was that weird guy that Michael Jordan had to hang out with, and then there was also his role in the first Jurassic Park movie, where he had to go in, steal the eggs, cause some havoc, and he got his comeuppance though. So, so that kind of made me really question what this guy's motive was in this episode, because he's talking about how he has a food truck and it's called Thai on the Go, and it's parked right outside the restaurant. So it's like, as Mrs. Boonchoy puts it, it's confusing customers. And I love the overdramatic customer outside who's looking back and forth at the restaurant and the food truck, and he's like, I don't know. It's funny. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, so Ned basically has the food truck because he wants to help the Boonchoys by being their mobile restaurants. And only problem is they won't give him the recipes because, as Mrs. Boonchoy puts it, it's a family recipe. So this kind of was where I was getting a little bit skeptical with Ned. I'm like, is he going to try and break in and steal it? Is he just going to be this kind of like fan of sorts? I'm like, considering his coat is, I don't know the chef's name, but it's like the chef. It's a black coat with the flames on it. So I don't know who the actual guy is, and I'm having trouble concentrating. I'm so sorry. This runny nose and a bit of a sore throat make it a little bit difficult to actually talk. So I'm just going to try and fire these out because I don't want to wait to get these out of the way because, wait a bit. It's going to go by, especially with these two episodes, because they're a little bit quote-unquote filler. It's one of those sets of episodes, but at the same time, they have valuable moments and valuable lessons that we have to at least acknowledge. So basically, yeah. So Sprig, after hearing this whole conversation about the food truck, hatches a plan to get rid of said food truck because he figures, Mrs. Boonchoy talks about how he has good intentions, but it's unfortunately been hurting the business a bit because, like I said, the truck is parked literally right outside, so you have literally across the sidewalk competition. So Sprig decides, okay, how am I gonna do this? So he first does this. He goes out, gets some food from the food truck, and then he eats it, and he pretends that, it's bad food because it turned his skin pink. Little bit funny, but unfortunately, one customer doesn't take it the way Sprig wants it. In fact, the guy, he's like, ooh, I want pink skin, I'll have what he's having. And, so Sprig is like, you fools, you morons! And I love it. I love it when they start chanting, too. That was kind of, the one thing about Gravity Falls that I also loved is, anytime they start chanting something, it's so Sprig out here is just chanting, morons, morons, morons! It's so funny, and I love it. And there's even a chant earlier in the episode with Hop Pop, because with him and Polly's at the house, they're like, oh, what do you want to watch? And then Hop Pop's like, Quantum Hop, Quantum Hop, Quantum Hop, which is, obviously a reference to Quantum Leap. So, a little bit funny, but, yeah. So, Sprig, obviously, is drawing the wrong kind of attention. So, Anne and Mrs. Boonchoy, they bring him inside, but unfortunately for Anne, she gets chewed out by her mom or her mom's chewing out Sprig because, as Anne once again puts it, he's a guest, so she's not going to chew him out because he's a guest. So the responsibility is with Anne to make sure Sprig is a good guest. But of course, Sprig being Sprig, ridiculously stupid, stubborn, because he, once again, it's like Anne's just drop it, and it's Sprig's like, nah, I'm gonna keep going. So he goes back out to the food truck at night where Ned is listening to the Amphibia song of that. It's so good. But it also raises a question. It's wait, so if that song is a thing in the human world, what's it called there? It's because we only hear up to when you're a normal girl here. when you're a normal girl living in another world, what you gonna do? Gotta ribbit, jump on it, hop onto it, or stuff. I forget the lyrics, but it cuts off right before they say "Welcome to Amphibia." Like, so, who knows what the song would have cut to? I mean, it would have been interesting, but yeah. So Sprig is able to lure Ned out of the truck, and so Sprig is like, okay, time to destroy the truck. Sprig Boonchoy, 3, 2. And so Anne comes in and stops him, but unfortunately they get into a fight. This causes the van to go into neutral, which then causes it to go down the hill. And we have our little food truck on the loose our moment. And it's like, you get some funny moments, like Anne talking about how she is super good at I think they said super wild card. She said it so fast, I thought but again, it's a nice little jab at Super Mario Kart, or a nice little Easter egg. But yeah, so they can't stop the truck because the brakes are broken. So there's that. But this is a weird moment for me. So they're riding down the street. They're trying to stop the truck. Then there's a turtle, and it goes up in a shell. And I kid you not, the truck does this. Like, so this is the turtle shell. I mean, is that like another Mario Kart reference? I mean, that's kind of what I got out of that. But at the same time, I'm like thinking, physics-wise in the human world, what? Like, if it happened in Amphibia, I would buy it just a bit, because it's like, it's Amphibia, it's another world. You got, maybe the physics are a bit different. But in the human world, does the turtle shell have the ability to flip a truck? But so, yeah, so Sprig and Anne are eventually to figure out a way to stop the truck, and that being, Sprig is able to redirect it to go to the skate park, where it has these awesome stunts on ramps and all that, and eventually it crashes, so truck stops, Mrs. Boonchoy and Ned, they show up, and Sprig then, of course, because, you know, it's a kid's show, you gotta always have the lessons, so Sprig comes out, he tells him the truth, he says this is all him, he was afraid of not being a part of the family. Mrs. Boonchoy reassures him because she knows how much Anne means to him, and how much Sprig means to Anne. And even Ned gets a little bit of a moment with Mrs. Boonchoy. Mrs. Boonchoy offers him a job as their delivery driver rather than just having the food truck. And so Ned is happy about that. And so at the end, Sprig gets an earful from Mrs. Boonchoy, and at first it thinks like Mrs. Boonchoy is just gonna chew him out, but then Sprig, she's like, wait, why are you smiling? And then Sprig's like, you're yelling at me. That means I'm part of the family. It's like, yeah, technically speaking, yeah. So it's a nice little moment, and I also love that Mrs. Boonchoy is like, okay, I'm already having second thoughts about this. It's good, and yeah, I mean, it's not a bad episode. There's definitely a lot of funny moments. So, the family fishing trip episode was still, in my opinion, the quote-unquote worst of the series, because that one was Sprig being very, very extremely selfish, and his intentions were kind of, in a way, a little bit psychotic, because in this episode, at least in this episode, his intentions were somewhat decent, because, as they pointed out, like, the food truck was hurting the business, so they have to figure out how to solve the situation. Sprig's plan to solve the situation was just the wrong intention. Whereas in Family Fishing Trip, he tried to literally strand an old lady on an island so he could get attention from his hot pop. It's like, what the freaking heck? So, in my opinion, so compared to that, this episode isn't bad. It's just, I don't know. I guess I just don't like it when kid characters go up to a few steps too far to get what they in the end want. So for Sprig to literally try to get rid of this food truck by any means necessary is definitely, it's both very Sprig, but at the same time, it's both very selfish. So, I don't know. But, luckily, everything was sorted out at the end. Nothing really too dangerous happened. Like, Ned's life wasn't on the line. I mean, Sprig and Anne, obviously they're not going to get hurt, because if they got hurt, at this point, where's the show gonna go from there? So yeah, again, nice funny moments, a few cool Easter eggs that really got a laugh out of me, and yeah, that's about it. So all right, one down, one to go. So oh man, it's stuffing nose. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that quick review. Again, sorry for the stuffy nose and the bit of a sore throat. I don't know how this came to be. Honestly, I felt great going into the week, and then like somewhere on late Tuesday night, I just started to feel a sore throat and runny nose. But again, temperature's fine. Everything else is pretty okay, so I don't know. So maybe it's just me. I don't know. So yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah. So thank you all for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.